everyone, it's Kira and welcome to the Yoga Corner. Today I'm going to be guiding you through a yoga flow for complete beginners. If you've ever thought about starting yoga but you just didn't know where to begin, this is definitely the video for you. But if you've also been practicing yoga for a while, feel free to join us for this video because we'll just be taking things a little bit more slowly, breaking down the poses and really understanding what it is that we're doing. So whenever you're ready, set up your mat, get ready, and we'll get straight into it. So getting started in a comfortable seated position today, whenever you're ready, just find a position on your mat that feels comfortable to you. I've gone for a cross-legged seated position, and if that feels comfy to you, then feel free to join me in this position. But if cross-legged feels a little bit uncomfortable on your hips or your knees, then feel free to go for any other seated position that feels best for you. The main thing that we want to focus on is finding a position that allows us to create length through the spine. Sitting is something that we all do multiple times a day without even thinking about it, but we often have pretty bad posture, slouching, rounding through the spine, and that isn't necessarily the best when we're trying to create a flow of energy in our yoga practice. So I want you to just have a little think about how you're sitting. Notice whether you can allow the base of the body, so the legs and all of the areas that touch the ground, to be really heavy. And then think about creating a stack through the body. We've got the head on top of the heart on top of the hips, and we've got a really nice long line all the way from the base of the tailbone at that point where the ground meets the body, all the way up to the crown of the head. And by stacking the body like that, we create this lovely channel for energy and breath to flow through our body, through our yoga practice. So this might feel a little bit foreign and unusual to you right now if this isn't something that you're used to doing. So there's no rush today. Give yourself a moment just to find that position. Have a wiggle, see what feels best for your body, and then just settle down into the pose. You might find it useful to close the eyes and just start to see whether you can allow everything else that might be going on around you to melt away. We're going to start by bringing our focus to the breath, which is a tool that you'll find so helpful throughout your yoga practice. Breathing, just like sitting, is something that we all do multiple times, well, in fact, all of the time without even thinking about it. It happens unconsciously, but it is something that we can control as well. And you'll find throughout these yoga flows that we do together that when you bring your focus to the breath, you'll be able to find so much more space to move through the body and create room for our flow. But you'll also find your mind is much quieter by allowing yourself to focus so clearly on one thing, your inhales and your exhales. You really do allow yourself to just leave everything else behind, even if just for 20 minutes for your yoga practice. So just start to notice the breath. You don't need to do anything with it just yet, but you might find it useful to either bring a hand onto the stomach just to feel the air moving in and out of the body as the belly rises and falls. Or you might also find it helpful to bring your attention to the nostrils and just notice that subtle flow of air moving in and out of the body as you inhale and exhale. Whether this is your first yoga class that you've ever done or whether you've been practicing yoga for a little while now, you'll always find that the mind starts to wander. That is our human nature and it is completely fine. But we can always bring our focus back to that flow of air, reconnecting with the breath and just bringing ourselves back into the present moment. So starting our practice here by bringing our attention to the breath will just allow us to start this practice with the present moment in mind, working with our body exactly as it is right now. So together we'll take a deep breath in through the nose and we'll exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. You're at home so you can make as much noise as you like. Inhale again through the nose. Exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. And one more time, take in as much air as you can. Inhale through the nose. Exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. And then just gently settle back down into a natural pattern of breath. If your eyes were closed, you might just like to gently blink them open. And we're going to start moving with our breath. One of the things that we do the most in yoga is matching our breath to our movements, and that can start with the smallest of movements. So with your next inhale, you're going to gently soften your right ear towards your right shoulder. Pause there. Just notice that sensation of stretching and lengthening all the way down the left side of your neck. And then with your next exhale, we're going to make a semicircle with the neck. We're going to roll the head forward, tucking the chin to the chest, and then gently roll the left ear to the left shoulder, taking a deep breath in once we get there. Pause there. Feel that sensation of stretching down the right side of the neck. Inhaling. With an exhale, we roll the chin to the chest. Right ear finds right shoulder as we take a deep breath in. Let's move a little faster. Exhale to roll through center, left ear to left shoulder. We inhale. Exhale, chin to chest, rolling back, right ear to right shoulder. One more time. Exhale, we roll through center, left ear to left shoulder. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, roll back through center, right ear meets right shoulder, and we pause there. You might like to bring your right hand over the head, bring it towards the left ear, and just gently adding a bit of pressure. We're not pulling the head down here, but just simply adding that little bit of weight to that left side of the head will just help you to find a slightly deeper stretch here. For one more full deep breath in. Release that right hand if you had it on the head, and exhale to roll the neck through center, chin to chest, and then gently allow that left ear to move towards the left shoulder. You again might like to bring the left hand across the body, bring it towards the right ear, and just gently guiding that head slightly deeper into this stretch. Only just adding gentle pressure, not pulling the head or tugging it anywhere that it doesn't want to go. Really good. We take a deep breath in. As we exhale, we release the hand, roll the chin to the chest, and pause there. Look down towards your legs or your feet. Take a moment here. And then with your next inhale, gently lift the head back up, stacking it back on top of the heart. With our next deep breath in, we're going to reach the hands up to the sky, lifting them up and overhead. Exhale, allow the fingertips to float down, raining the fingers back down beside you. Really good. Take that a few more times. Inhale, reach the hands up above you. Exhale, we float those hands back down. Really good. One more time. Inhale to sweep through those hands. Pause at the top here. Reach as tall as you can. Exhale, float those hands back down. Really nice, guys. Give yourself a moment, wiggle around. Might feel a little bit unusual if you're not used to sitting in this position for a while. And then we're going to bring the hands together, interlace the hands to make a little fist. And then we're going to start to warm up through the wrists, an area that we often neglect, but is so important because the hands play such a big role in our yoga practice. So whenever you're ready, we've got those hands interlaced, and we're just going to start making some figures of 8, rolling through the wrists. There's really no right or wrong about this position, so you can move as much or as little as you like, and really just wiggle the hands in any way that feels good to you. We're just bringing a little bit of activity into an area that maybe we don't give enough attention to. So move as however you'd like, really. There's no right or wrong. And then we'll just pause in stillness. We're going to reach the hands out ahead of us. Really spread the fingers like starfish. And then imagine that your hands are headlights and start to flash the hands. Create some energy through this part of the body. Spreading the fingers, taking a full deep breath in. We go for 5, 4, 3, you might feel a little burn in the forearms, 2, and 1. Give those hands a wiggle, shake the fingers out. Create as much energy as you can through those hands. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to work our way over onto our hands and knees. So there's no right or wrong way about this. Get there however feels most comfortable to you. We're just going to roll over and find our hands and knees. In yoga, we call this our tabletop position. So in our tabletop, we like to make sure that our hands and our wrists are just underneath the shoulders. So we're stacking those arms, and our knees are just underneath the hips. And then we're going to warm up through the spine by taking our cat and cows. Just a funny pose for how we warm up the spine, and it's a really lovely feeling to just create that space through the back and the front of the body. So matching our movements to our breaths, with our next deep breath in, we drop the belly, lifting the chest, allowing the chest to move forwards. With our exhale, we round through the spine, tucking the chin to the chest and doming through the back. Inhale, we drop the belly, opening the chest, allowing that body to move forwards. Exhale to round through the spine, tuck that chin into the chest. Really good, guys. Take that one more time. Inhale to drop the belly, open the chest up, really allow yourself to create space. Exhale, take your time, tuck the chin to the chest, dome through the back of the body, opening through that spine. And then gently return back to your neutral tabletop position, spreading the fingers nice and wide. We've done a little bit of work on the wrist, but we're just going to do a little bit more. So keeping the hands exactly as they are, just underneath the shoulders, you're going to take a few circles through the body, just moving the chest over those wrists, creating circles. These could be really tiny circles if that feels good to you, or they could be really dramatic, big circles. There is no right way to do this. Just literally listen to your body and notice what feels best. Once you've moved in those circles for a couple of breaths, start to reverse it, move the opposite way. Allow yourself to create some space as you stretch through those wrists, and then come back to stillness. Option to continue doing that stretch, just making those circles over the wrists if that feels good to you. Or you can take the hands out to the 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock positions on the clock or on the mat, as the case may be. Once you've got the hands turned out to the sides, again, focus on spreading the fingers nice and wide. This in and of itself might be a deep enough stretch for you, so feel free to stay here in this position. Or if you'd like a slightly deeper stretch to go into those wrists and forearms, you can just gently sway left and right over those wrists. Just allow yourself again to make these movements as big or as small as feels good to your body today. And then gently come back through center. Again, notice how your body is feeling. If this feels like your limit, then please stay here and just work with this stretch. Or your final option is to turn the hands so they face back towards the body. So your wrists are facing the front of the mat and your fingers are pointing back towards the legs. If you've taken this stretch, we're not going to take any movement here. This is a deep enough stretch on its own, and we don't need to do anything else to activate those wrists. So if you've taken this stretch, or really in whichever stretch you've decided to go for today, just take one more full deep breath in, again, through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And then with care and control, really looking after those wrists, just walk them back round, bringing them back towards the front of the mat. We're going to spread the fingers as wide as we can, and we're setting up for our first downward facing dog, one of the key poses that we'll work through in our yoga practice. So whenever you're ready, spread the fingers, and then I want you to think about shining the eyes of the elbows forwards. It's only a subtle movement, but it just allows you to create a little bit of rotation through the arm bones. And then whenever you're ready, tuck the toes. Start to lift the knees away from the ground and peel the hips up to the sky, moving slowly to get there. And then once we find our downward dog, it's our first downward dog. So we're going to bend through the knees and then pedal out the legs. Start to shift the weight from side to side, just gently working into the backs of those legs and feeling into this pose. There's no perfect way to move into this position. So just allow yourself to take any movements that feel good to you. And then whenever you're ready, pause and find stillness. People often think about downward dog as a stretch for the legs because it definitely activates the hamstrings, but it's actually a pose in which we want to focus on the spine. So I really invite you to bend into your knees. Heels do not need to touch the ground here. We're bending through the legs and then push the weight through the hands. Look back to your feet and see if you can push your chest in towards those legs. Notice how the spine feels a little bit longer there. And then only if you've got the space do you want to think about straightening out the legs. But there is absolutely no pressure at all to straighten those legs today. And there's also no pressure for the heels to touch the ground. These things come with time, but there's no such thing as the right way to do a downward dog. The only right way is the way that feels best for your body. So together we'll take one more deep breath in through the nose here in this downward dog. We're going to exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. And then look forward to the hands. Gently, you're going to bend into the legs and start tiptoeing the feet up until they meet the hands at the front of the mat, finding what is called a forward fold. In your forward fold, you really want to allow the chest to come down towards the thighs, so take as much of a bend in the knees as your body needs. And then we're going to find what is called our ragdoll position by taking hold of opposite elbows. Gently allow the body to sway, really making the movement come from the hips. Swaying out from left to right and creating space into the backs of those legs. Really nice, guys. Gently start to slow those sways down. Come back to center. And once you've found that stillness at center, release the fingertips down to the ground. We're gently going to see whether without lifting the heels away from the ground, we can shift the weight forward into our toes. Just by shifting that weight forward, we create a little bit more space to lengthen the head down towards the ground. Really good. With an inhale, lift up halfway. Bring your hands to your shins and allow the chest to lengthen forwards, looking to the ground in front of you. Exhale, soften the chest down towards the legs again. And then keeping the head and the neck heavy, we're going to root through the feet and roll through the spine, one vertebra at a time. Gently roll up through the spine, really moving slowly with control. And then once you get up to standing, roll the shoulders back, open the chest up, lifting the heart to the sky. Really nice, guys. Finding our standing position at the top of the mat, we're going to inhale, and just like we did in our seated position, sweep the hands up to the sky. Exhale, hands are going to come down towards the heart space. We'll take that a couple more times. Inhale to sweep the hands to the sky. Exhale to soften them down. One more time. Inhale, sweep those hands up. Exhale, bring the hands down towards the heart. We're going to take a little bit of a challenge for our balance. We're going to have plenty of time to work on balances and all of the practices that we'll do together. So don't worry if today feels wobbly to you. We have plenty of time, and balance is something that we really just have to be patient with. But it's always fun to practice, and we have to remember it's just yoga. We don't need to take this seriously. So start to shift the weight around the feet. Keep the hands together at the heart, and you might just gently start to lift the toes away from the ground and then lift the heels, just shifting the weight from the front to the backs of the feet. Move at your own pace here. And then if you'd like to challenge the balance further, you might close the eyes, which is always a fun way to make yourself feel very wobbly. Woo. Just working with however your body is feeling today and just having fun with it, embracing that sense of balance or of unbalance, just working with wherever you are right now. And then we're going to open the eyes again, bringing our focus back to the legs. See whether you can lift the toes away from the ground just for a moment, spread them out nice and wide, and then sink them back down to the ground, spreading the feet as wide as you can onto the ground. We're going to really focus on rooting down through our right leg. So push that right foot down into the ground and notice all of the places where that right foot touches the ground beneath you. And then we're going to find our tree pose. So your hands are going to stay together at the heart for now, and we're going to bring the sole of our left foot to the inside of our right leg. There are a few different options here for however balanced you might be feeling today. So your first option, and the place that we'll all start, is by leaving the toes on the ground and just bringing the sole of that left foot towards the right ankle. Once you find this position, see whether you can squeeze the glutes out, especially on that left leg, to open that leg out to the sides. If this feels really comfortable to you, your next option is to lift the toes completely away from the ground and come towards the calf of the right foot. If you've got the toes completely away from the ground, really focus on pushing that left foot into the ground and allowing the right leg to push back. Your final option is to lift the left foot towards the inside of your right thigh. This might feel a little bit out of the way for now, so if that doesn't feel within your limits, then feel free to just come back down to the calf. Like I said, we've got plenty of time to work towards those more advanced balances. But the only place we want to avoid is the knee joint. So wherever you are, focus on squeezing the foot into the leg, allowing the right leg to push back, and open that knee as much as you can out to the sides. Really good. Final option, you might lift the arms up and overhead, still keeping those palms connected, and grow your tree nice and tall. Really good. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, bring the hands together at the heart. Release that left foot away from the right leg. We're going to inhale to sweep the hands up to the sky. And with an exhale, we hinge from the hips, allowing the chest to move forwards, coming down to our forward fold. Really good. With an inhale, we take our halfway lift. Hands find the shins. We have a nice flat back as the gaze comes forward. Exhale to soften the chest back down. Again, rolling up through the spine. Keep the head and the neck heavy and roll up one vertebra at a time, really nicely, just allowing yourself to work through the spine, gently stacking those vertebrae on top of each other. And once you get to the top, rolling the shoulders back. Really good. Again, we're going to bring the hands together at the heart, and this time we're going to focus our attention on the left leg. So root down through that left foot. Really allow it to sink down into the mat, feeling that connection with the ground. Give yourself a minute just to play around with that sensation, and then whenever you're ready, the right foot is going to start to lift away from the ground as we find our tree pose. So this time the sole of the right foot is moving to the inside of the left leg. So you might keep the toes on the ground, and I'd invite you all to start here and bring the sole of the right foot towards the left ankle, squeezing that right glute to open that right knee out to the side. Just notice how this feels for your body and try to put the ego to one side and just notice if this is where your body would feel best to stay. If you genuinely feel like you're really stable here and you'd like to take it a little bit further, then you might lift the right foot completely away from the ground, bringing the sole of the right foot to the left calf, squeezing that glute out to the side. And again, final option, no pressure here, so please don't feel like you need to take this pose just because it seems like the version that you should take, is bringing that right foot towards the inside of the left thigh. Pushing the foot into the leg and allowing the leg to push back and avoiding that knee joint. We really don't want to put any pressure there. So whichever version of this pose you've taken, take a deep breath in, and you might like to reach the arms up and overhead, growing that tree, creating length all the way from that left foot on the ground to the tips of those fingers above your head. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bring the hands back down to the heart and release that right foot down. Really good. With an inhale, we sweep the hands above the head. And exhale, hinging from the hips, you fold that chest all the way down, and we pause here in this fold. Allow yourself to soften into this position. Pause there for a moment. Take a deep breath in. Use your exhale to soften the chest down towards the legs. Really release through the spine. With an inhale, lift halfway. Hands come to shins, nice flat back. Gaze comes forward. Exhale, soften the chest down. We're going to bring the hands onto the ground and gently, and in whichever way feels best for you, we're coming to sit down on the ground. So make your way there however feels best for you. Send the legs out to the side and bring them out long. Straight away, we're going to bend through the knees and come to lie down on our spine. Keeping a bend in the legs to begin with, just soften the shoulders down to the ground. Allow the left leg to come long on the mat, and then hug your right knee into the chest. Really give it a squeeze by interlacing the hands around that right leg. And then using the left hand on the outside of your right leg, you're going to allow the right leg to travel all the way across the body, coming down towards that left side of the mat. And once that leg comes as far as it wants to go, then you might bring the right arm out to a T and gaze up towards the ceiling, or maybe over that right shoulder. Whichever version of this pose you've taken, take a full deep breath in. Exhale completely. And then gently roll back through center on your next inhale. Allow the right leg to come out long. And then hug the left knee into the chest, giving it a squeeze. Really guide that knee into the body. And then using the right hand this time on the outside of that left knee, you're going to guide the left leg all the way across the body, planting down on the right side of the mat. Once that leg touches down, your left arm might reach out to a T, and you can either gaze up to the ceiling or maybe over the left shoulder. Wherever you are, we take one full deep breath in. And we exhale completely. With your next inhale, gently make your way back through center. We're going to hug both knees into the chest, give yourself a squeeze, interlace the hands around the legs. You might like to lift the forehead up to meet the kneecaps, pulling yourself into a tight ball, taking a deep breath in. And with your exhale, we're lengthening everything to set up for our Shavasana, which is our final resting pose. Allow your legs to be at least as wide as the mat. Allow the arms to rest beside the body, and just check in. Notice if there's any final wiggles you need to take in order to find complete relaxation. We're all going to close the eyes and then taking a deep breath in through the nose. We exhale to sigh it out through the mouth. Just allow yourself to take these next couple of moments just for you. In yoga, these moments of stillness are just as important as the moments of movement. So honor your body by allowing it to take these moments of relaxation. If you have a little more free time and you'd like to take a longer Shavasana, please feel free to pause this video and take as much time as you need in this pose. But if you'd like to finish your practice with me, just allow yourself to take one more full deep breath in here. Exhale completely. And then with your next inhale, just hug the knees back into the chest, coming back to that position that we found a couple of moments ago. Give yourself one more squeeze. And then in no rush and in however feels best for you, we're gently going to make our way up to a comfortable seat at the tops of our mats. So returning back to that position that we started our practice in earlier on today. Once again, just allow the legs to be heavy. Focus on lengthening through the spine and see if you can soften the shoulders away from the ears to create space through the body. I really, really hope that you've enjoyed your Yoga for Total Beginners flow today, and I hope that we'll be practicing again together soon. A big thank you from me for starting your yoga journey with me. It has been wonderful. Namaste.